like to call the meeting to order, please. This evening we have Hunter Landis leading us in the pledge, so please stand and we'll have. And then we'll stand for a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, are there any changes or revisions to the regular or consent agendas? I'll take a motion to approve the regular and consent agendas, please.
I make a motion to approve the regular consent agenda. Second.
Lee made the motion to approve the regular and consent agendas. Wade seconded that. All in favor? Erin, can you see everybody?
I can. Thank you.
All right, recognitions and information. Students of the month from Central Elementary, we have Hunter Landis, Mr. Dowen.
Well, you got to meet Hunter a minute ago here. He did a nice job with that. So Hunter is our student of the month for Central Elementary. His teacher is Mrs. Fry, and what she wrote about Hunter is pretty impressive. Generosity and compassion are two virtues that Hunter continues to show daily in the classroom. By always being one of the first to offer help to any student or staff in the building, no matter the audience or reward. Hunter is always honest and strives to do his best inside and outside the classroom. He shows courage while willing to take the lead on different projects, while also pushing others to do their very best. Hunter is a picture-perfect example of how all friends should be, and an excellent role model for his peers and younger students in the building. That's Mr. Landis. And a quick note, so for those of you who've been around South Bend a long time, this Friday, you're invited. We'd like to board the show if you can. We have an outstanding Veterans Day program. Starts at 9:45. We have Grandparents' Day before that. So this place will be packed. Parking lot within the high school will be packed. We have shuttle buses coming. It is a fantastic afternoon or morning for us. So you're welcome if you get a chance to come by. So good time. Thank you.
All right. Fillmore Elementary, Luke Underwood, Mrs. Gibbony.
This is Luke Underwood, our Fillmore Elementary Student of the Month, and he was nominated by his teacher, Ms. Richmond. And so it is my pleasure to present Luke Underwood as the October Student of the Month for Fillmore. Luke was chosen for displaying the skills of independence and perseverance. So according to Luke's teacher, Ms. Richmond, Luke demonstrates the life skill of independence in my classroom every day by working diligently on his classroom assignments, asking questions when unsure or confused, and showing responsibility by returning work on time and helping others complete their tasks in the classroom. Luke is an asset in our third grade classroom, and I am so proud to nominate him for this award. I can tell you that as Luke's principal, I know I can count on him to be a positive role model within our school, and so we are honored that Luke is part of our Fillmore Elementary School family. So thank you, Luke, for displaying the characteristics of independence and perseverance, because these characteristics will take you far in life. So congratulations to Luke.
And Mrs. Gardner, is she here? Oh, no, you're not Mrs. Gardner.
I'm not Mrs. Gardner. So I had the pleasure of introducing our Student of the Month of the High high school. Either one of them were able to make it today. The really cool thing about our kids is they're very involved in a lot of stuff. The high school student in particular is currently helping out with our Fillmore Elementary basketball program, basketball program at Fillmore Elementary. So she can't be here because she's helping out with other stuff. And that's just the kind of kids we have here, which is great. Our student of the month for the middle school is Rayleigh Dilly. She was nominated by Mrs. Franza. Mrs. Franza said, Rayleigh always tries her best and puts in extra effort, even when she has already succeeded with each assignment. She has a fabulous, positive attitude and is kind to all her classmates. She also asked Miss Franza if she could help clean and organize her classroom, just going the extra mile to help out. So she's a great kid. High school student of the month is Catherine Kemp. She is nominated by two different teachers, Mrs. Hodge and Mr. Eric. Mrs. Hodge said, Kat is a joy. She's inquisitive, always seeking to understand. She is kind and creative and encouraging. Mrs. Hodge is so proud of her for stepping out of her comfort zone and taking AP Computer Science. Mr. Eric said, Catherine has consistently performed well all year in chemistry. She worked very hard during the first grading period. Catherine is off to a great start this grading period as well. What has been most impressive with her is her kindness and willingness to help another student in class. In class, one of the students is a foreign exchange student and struggles with English. Catherine always takes the time to work with her and include her in group projects. She is kind, patient, and makes her feel included. When I talked to her and told her she was going to be the student of the month, I asked her to give some information about herself. She said she wants you all to know that her favorite music is Christmas music. So that's what she said. She also has other people. She's so excited to get this on her. So.
Thank you all. Thank you students. Thank you families for coming. Thank you teachers and administrators. Any of you who would like to leave at this time before our regular meeting or for the rest of our regular meeting, may do so, or you're welcome to stay. Okay, financial update, Dr. Smith.
In your packet, you received the latest financial reports through the end of the month of October, which included our cash flows and our fund reports, among a lot of other things, as normal. As reflected in those reports, we continue to track positively with all our forecasted income, expenses, and cash balances. Additionally, we're working with our bond counsel and bond advisors on a proactive approach to bond funding for our upcoming building project. We'll be bringing you more detailed information in future meetings on that, and especially once we arrive at the initial funding dollar amounts, working with our building project partners, which is Fanning Howey, MKS, Stiefel, and Ice Miller. We have a ratings call next week to get in preparation for the bond sale.
Any public comment?
No.
Anyone sign up? Okay. All right, new business. Second reading of. Well, are you on? Oh, sorry. Excuse me, I skipped the legislative update. Mr. Roach, please continue.
So, what night was it? Monday night, November 6th, we had the ISBA Region 7 fall meeting. I took some notes during some of the legislative conversation there. So, we said you guys heard this, but you haven't. Oh, I'm sorry. No, you have heard this. You have, yeah. There we go. So basically, there's a whole book I could share with you guys, but my big takeaways from this were what really wasn't in the book and some of the things that they were talking about, which were suspected things that might come up this legislative session. It's the smaller session, so there's usually not as much budgetary stuff that comes up. But a few legislators are talking about mandatory grade retention because of the IRE 3 passage rates and that sort of thing. DOE has set a goal of 97% passage by 2027, I believe is what it was, and other resources are available. What ISBA is saying that they realize there's other ways we can get there, right? And so ISBA is saying hold off on any legislative action on those sorts of things. They don't really want to support that direction. So that's something they're going to they want to see what happens closer to 2027. So that's their stance on it. So there is talk of other legislation regarding consolidations of schools, like small schools and that sort of thing. ISBA supports school choice, and small community schools continue to be supported. They don't think it's right to force schools to consolidate if they don't need to. Right. So there's some conversation on that, and they kind of mentioned what their stance was on that. And also the third major one, which it's a little bit controversial in some areas, but still a small amount of talk of partisan school board elections. There aren't going to be, they don't anticipate as many legislators proposing anything new, because there's some other laws that took place, like you have to file for notice of running for school board a little earlier, so that might take care of some of the things that some of the folks are worried about. And so some of those, there were usually like 4 or so bills that would typically get proposed every time, but this time they think there's just going to be one bill that's going to be proposed this year, but they don't feel like it's going to get much traction. So that was pretty much it for all the new stuff that they're looking at, but I gave you a copy of this and it has everything else. That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you, Joe. All right, now we're moving on to new business. 7A, second reading of updated Neola Corporation policies. Dr. Smith.
So in your packets were the updates to previous policies that were read once. This is the second reading of those policies with the adjustments, and that's just required prior to approval on your next step.
The Neola Corporation policy updates.
Any discussion? Wade made the motion to approve the Neola Corporation policy update. Joe seconded that. All those in favor? AdTech, Children's Internet Protection Policy.
So in your packet, you have a couple of items with some detailed information regarding the Children's Internet Protection Policy and the Children's Internet Protection Act. As for AdTech, which is our E-rate service provider, they do a lot of our E-rate funding for us. The requirements for the Universal Service which is also a requirement of the Universal Service Administrative Company, which is USAC, not the auto racing. And it's our E-rate overseer. Basically, every 3 to 5 years, we need to bring this up in a board meeting, just informing the board of the policy that we have in place to making sure that we have internet filtering that prevents access to inappropriate material for students and adults utilized by the district. So I'm just making that a public statement today. We have all those things in place, and continuing to update those and making sure they're as completely up to date as possible to filter out any harmful material to students and adults. Additionally, along with that, back on January 12, 2022, board action was taken to approve an update to policy 7540.03, which specifically addresses the public law 106-554, which is the Children's Internet Protection Act of 2000. So just want to let you know, the board in 2022 took action on this with the updated policy. So there's no action required tonight. All this are just informational purposes, and it's in your packets for additional information.
All right, 7D, 2024-25 Corporation Academic Year Calendar, first look.
Yeah, so in your package was just an initial mock-up of the 2024-2025 academic calendar. Just of note, I have not talked with the Teachers Association with that as of yet, and so I will be doing that. And to bring that, and I'll do that prior to bringing that for approval. So I'll be doing that at our next discussables meeting. The calendar mirrors 2023-24 as closely as it possibly can in many ways, but we have some additional considerations from administrators and teachers that I'll need to address on that. Basically, the start date and the end date's pretty close to what it's going to be, and most of the major holidays are going to, the vacations are going to be similar as well. So just want to bring that up to you. We're working right now with alignment as much as we possibly can with other county schools and other old National Trail schools because of all of our shared services. So we're gonna try to align as closely as possible because of those shared classrooms. So we need to make sure we do that. So again, there's no action really required on this at this particular time. I just want to give you an initial look of what we're thinking about, and then we'll make tweaks prior to approval for next month.
Does anything look currently like it's going to be a struggle? Looking at a quick overview, like things just aren't quite lining up, and you're going to have to work through some problems, or like you mentioned.
Most of it lines up pretty well. We've done a lot of work in the last 4 weeks to get in line as much as we possibly can with the other schools, especially the old National Trail because of those shared classrooms. There shouldn't be that many tweaks, but again, I want to make sure I get input from all parties prior to bringing it to you.
So right now you just have one snow makeup day. Is that the same as what we had this year?
Correct, but we also at this particular point we can use more asynchronous e-learning days that this year we're using for some PD, and those are some conversations I need to have with my administrators and teachers. Are we going to continue those PDDs or the ones we have built in sufficient?
Anybody else have any? All right, moving on to number 8, other business, and we are at number 9.
It was a pretty light agenda for this meeting tonight, so I'll keep the superintendent's report pretty light as well. So just keeping with that theme. Basically, on Monday we had a very productive professional day for our teachers. I think a lot of things that Joe was discussing as far as science and reading, those types of things, we started working towards professional development towards those already, being proactive in that, in some other areas as well. Our administrators and our educators are continuing to work diligently to ensure we're meeting our students' needs and enhancing all of our instructional practices across the board. Exciting. There's a lot of things that are going on in that arena. Winter sports season is already in motion. Games going on tonight, and excited to see all of our student athletes in competition in indoor sports this winter. And last Thursday, I was honored to spend some time with our FFA advisors and our students at the FFA National Convention down in Indianapolis at the Convention Center and at Lucas Oil Stadium. So we got a lot of steps in that day. There'll be more to come on this in another board meeting. We want to kind of celebrate some of the things that were happening there. I just want to let you know we have some amazing South Putnam FFA staff and students. And they were recognized as a national 2-star chapter, so it's pretty amazing. Along with some other acknowledgments as well, but I'll let them shine a light on a lot of those, possibly in our next board meeting. Other than that, another great day to be an Eagle.
All right, unless there's something else, we will adjourn.